All right, back again with some more training footage and some thoughts on the process in general. So Monday, lower body day. On my dedicated lower body day, I tend to do higher bar or high bar back squats, and I usually work up to a hard set of, say, 5, where the RPE will be about 9. In other words, I will have about maybe 1 repetition left in reserve at the end of that set. So I work up to that top set of 5, and then I take about 20% of the load off, and then I do another set to about an RPE of 9, and then I take another 20% off, and I do another set, again, RPE 9. And this is essentially just a reverse pyramid. So that's fairly intense in terms of proximity to failure, and it's also fairly heavy if you're talking about intensity in terms of like percentages, because I'm working up, the main set is really a hard set of 5. You'll also notice I do quite a bit of warming up. I'd usually do the bar for a couple of sets. I didn't film everything. And then I'll just do 135 for a set of 5 or so, and then slowly add some weight to the bar and do a couple sets of 3 and maybe 2. And the last warm-up set will actually be fairly close to my load that I use for my top set, but I only really do like 1 or 2, maybe 3 reps at most. And that's just to get a feel for, a heavier weight. And the reason for this, for me at least, is it kind of takes me a little bit to get into a groove that feels right. And no matter how long I've, in the past I squatted quite a lot. I've taken a long time away from training. But no matter how many times I squatted, no matter how frequently, I seem to always have this sort of like, not uncertainty, but just sort of like kind of wiggling my feet, getting in the right position. I think a lot of people feel this way. That being said, today I ended up working up to 225 pounds. It's this set right here for 5 repetitions. The last rep was definitely pretty close to what I was capable of. You can see that the bar speed significantly slows down as I progress through the set. And, there is a very strong correlation with how fast you're able to move the weight and how close it is to actual, failure. And it's a fine line, especially with squats. So, I put the pins here, as you can see, just in case I fail that last rep. But I think I was about an RPE 8 or 9. I had probably about 1, maybe 2 left if I took a good breath at the top. All right, so my second work set, I dropped the weight down to about 205, and I believe I hit 7 reps for this. So, if it was totally fresh and I didn't do the previous 5, maybe I'd hit 10. I'm not sure. It doesn't really much matter to me. For me, the main focus is every set that I do, put 100% effort into the set and get as much as I can get out of it without being stupid. Certain exercises, like a barbell squat, even if you have pins, I just don't recommend you go to complete failure and fail the rep. So I probably had about maybe 2 reps left in reserve there at best. And this is the final work set where I've just stripped the bar to 185. Now, one thing that I do want to mention is these weights are not impressive by any means. I'm hovering around 165 pounds body weight, depending upon the day, maybe up 2 pounds or down 2 pounds, up 3 pounds, whatever. And these weights are certainly not impressive feats of strength by any means. Which brings me to a big topic of focus and of interest in regards to just general training. And this has been kind of belabored by so many other individuals, but I think it's always worth discussing a bit more. If you just focus on what your level of strength or development is in comparison to others, you're going to get discouraged, especially in today's day and age where we are kind of bombarded with social media showcasing so many impressive feats of strength from so many different people all of the time, that even if you were, fairly strong, or even if I was, there's always going to be somebody you're going to see on there on probably a day-to-day basis that makes you look weak. So, with that being said, you really need to only focus on where you are currently at and where you were at previously. And if you are moving in a positive direction and you're getting stronger, say, maybe week to week, maybe month to month, year to year even, then you are, you're doing the right thing. And, that's important. It's much more important than comparing where you're at to where somebody else is at for so many different reasons. You don't know what their starting point was in comparison to yours. Some people walk into the gym and the first day they can squat 315 pounds without any training. Now, I'm not saying that's a common thing, but it is something that I've observed personally. So it's just, it doesn't do you really much good to compare where you're at to where other people are at. I'm not going to say that I do a perfect job of this, but it's something that you really, I think, in order to stay in this game long term, you need to have the right attitude and you need to fixate your focus on the right things. Anyway, you may have noticed I usually follow up my squats with some type of posterior chain work, and usually it's a Romanian deadlift like you saw. And then following just about 2 sets of RDLs, usually in the 8 to 12 rep range, a weight that is very challenging, say an RPE of 8. I'll do about 2 sets of RDLs, and then I'll usually throw in 2 or 3 sets of barbell rows. It's not really a lower body exercise, of course, but because my upper body day and my full body day is much more focused on vertical pulling for my back, I just like to throw in some horizontal movements for the back on my lower body day. So I will just throw in 2 or 3 sets of barbell rows. If I feel my lower back is really smoked, then I will just throw in some chest supported rows. And then after the rows, again, 2 or 3 sets, 8 to 12 rep range, I will then move on to doing some direct calf work. As you can see, my calves are definitely a lagging body part and something that, just genetically, I just don't have big bulbous calves, unfortunately. So I'm just showing you one leg here. I did this exercise for both legs and I did 3 sets of these. They're basically just dumbbell calf raises. And I always finish off essentially every session with some type of direct ab work, 2 or 3 sets usually, more so on the 3-set range. And for this, I did these leg raises from this kind of dip position. And I did 3 sets of 20 of these. And one thing I do want to mention is that when I do these, I really try to focus on curling my butt kind of underneath upward, especially towards the top. Otherwise, it will be just a probably an effective, but really much more a hip flexor focused exercise if you don't concentrate on really kind of squeezing your abs upwards. All right, so for my endurance training for this Monday, I just did a light recovery spin for 30 minutes. I think the average wattage was only about 135 watts, and my heart rate average was maybe in the 130s. So I would say it's like kind of on the cusp between zone 1, zone 2. And Mondays, I almost always do a very easy light spin or sometimes skip it. But as you know, I'm doing endurance training about 6 to 7 days a week usually. So I will usually just do the spin just to get some blood flow. I think it actually maybe helps with the recovery. Anyway, that was it for my training and all I have for those thoughts on training in general. I hope that it was helpful to you guys, and I thank you for watching. See you next time.